The lecture hall buzzed with the kind of nervous energy that only came from knowing you were about to witness something either brilliant or catastrophically stupid. Probably both. Commander Vorthax stood at the front of the Academy's Advanced Weapons Design class, his four eyes scanning the room with the practiced disdain of someone who had seen too many cadets blow themselves up over minor calculation errors. His scales shimmered under the fluorescent lights, a deep purple that darkened when he was annoyed, which was always. Today, he announced, his voice carrying that particular growl reserved for statements nobody wanted to hear. You will construct a functional weapon using only the materials provided at your stations. You have 3 standard hours. Creativity is encouraged. Stupidity will be graded accordingly. Mira Kell sat in the back row, her fingers already dancing across her workstation's holographic interface. While the other students, a mix of Varanthi, Kelzari, and a handful of other species, immediately grabbed for plasma coils and energy matrices, she was doing something that made absolutely no sense to anyone watching. She was requesting wood. Is the human malfunctioning? Whispered Rax, a Varanthi sitting 2 seats over. His voice carried that unique tone of someone trying to be quiet, but failing spectacularly at it. Maybe her translator is broken, suggested Yenna, a Kelzuri whose tentacles were already assembling what looked suspiciously like a miniature railgun. Wood? What is she gonna do? Club someone to death? Mira ignored them. She had gotten used to being the weird one, the only human in a class of 73 students. The species that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel, while everyone else had been cruising the stars for millennia. The newcomers. The primitives. The annoying thing was they were not entirely wrong. Humans were behind. Way behind. But being behind meant something else too. It meant remembering things everyone else had forgotten. The material fabricator hummed, and a bundle of flexible composite wood, genetically enhanced for strength but still fundamentally just wood, materialized at her station. Along with it came thin strands of synthetic fiber, adhesive compounds, and a few metal components she had very specific plans for. Commander Vorthax noticed her requisition list, and his scales darkened another shade. He approached her station with the kind of deliberate slowness that suggested he was building up to a really good insult. Cadet Kell, he said, looming over her workspace. Would you care to explain why you are requesting materials more suitable for furniture construction than weapons development? Mira did not look up. Her hands were already shaving down the wood into a long, curved shape. Building a weapon, sir. Like you asked. A weapon, he repeated, his voice dripping with skepticism, so thick you could probably bottle it and sell it as a condiment. Made of wood. Among other things, yes, sir. A few snickers rippled through the class. Mira's workstation neighbor, a tall Varanthi named Krell who had immediately started assembling a pulse rifle, was not even trying to hide his amusement. This I have to see, Krell muttered. The human is going to turn in a stick and call it technology. 3 hours turned out to be more than enough time. While the others soldered, calibrated, and occasionally triggered minor explosions that had the safety drones scrambling, Mira worked with steady, practiced movements. Her fingers knew this craft not from academy training, but from something older. Something human. The bow took shape slowly. A recurve design, tension optimized, string attachment points reinforced with the metal components. The arrows came next, fletched with precision-cut synthetic materials, tips sharpened and weighted for stability. She even built a small quiver, because presentation mattered. By the time Commander Vorthax called time, most students had produced recognizable weapons. Energy pistols, plasma rifles, a couple of grenades, and one ambitious shock sword that had already given its creator mild electrocution twice. Mira stood behind her station, bow in hand. The demonstration phase began. One by one, students activated their weapons, firing at practice targets that materialized in the reinforced testing zone. Some hit, some missed. One plasma rifle overheated and melted its own barrel, which earned a lecture about proper coolant ratios. Then it was Mira's turn. She walked to the firing line, bow in one hand, arrow knocked. The entire class had gone quiet, waiting for what was obviously going to be the entertainment highlight of the day. Even Commander Vorthax had one-eye ridge raised in what might have been curiosity or might have been the precursor to a legendary rant. "Whenever you are ready, Cadet Kell," he said. Mira did not aim at the practice targets. She aimed up at Commander Vorthax's personal observation drone, hovering smugly 20 meters above the testing zone. Her arm drew back, muscles tensing, string pulling taut. The arrow sat perfectly against her cheek. She exhaled slowly, found her mark, and released. The arrow flew. The arrow cut through the air with a whistle that seemed impossibly loud in the sudden silence. 20 meters up, Commander Vorthax's personal observation drone, a top-of-the-line Sentinel-class surveillance unit worth more than most students' yearly stipends, hovered in blissful ignorance of its impending doom. The arrow struck dead center. Sparks erupted from the drone's primary sensor array. It spun once, twice, then plummeted like a very expensive rock. The safety net activated automatically, catching it 3 meters from the floor, but the damage was done. Smoke curled from its shattered optical core. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. 73 pairs of eyes, representing at least 12 different species, stared at Mira Kell like she had just declared war on the entire Galactic Academy. Which, technically speaking, she might have. Commander Vorthax's scales went through a color transformation that would have been beautiful if it were not so clearly a sign of volcanic rage building beneath the surface. Purple to deep crimson to something approaching black. His jaw clenched so hard Mira could hear his teeth grinding from 10 meters away. "Cadet Kell," he said, each word delivered with the precision of someone choosing between 17 different ways to end a career. "Did you just shoot my drone?" Mira lowered the bow, keeping her expression neutral. "Yes, sir. My personal surveillance drone. The one monitoring this exercise. The one that costs 47,000 credits. That would be the one, sir." A strangled noise came from somewhere in the third row. Someone was either dying or trying very hard not to laugh. Possibly both. Commander Vorthax descended from his observation platform with the slow, deliberate steps of an orbital bombardment preparing to make impact. He reached the ruined drone, still smoking in its safety net, and examined it with the expression of someone attending a funeral for a close friend. "You have 5 seconds to explain yourself before I have you expelled, court-martialed, and possibly launched into the nearest star." Mira had prepared for this moment, specifically for this exact reaction. "Sir, you instructed us to build a functional weapon and demonstrate its capabilities. I built a bow, a ranged weapon capable of striking targets with precision at a distance. To prove functionality, I needed a difficult target, moving, elevated, and small enough to demonstrate accuracy. So you chose my drone. It was the most challenging target available, sir." The classroom had gone beyond silent into some new realm of quiet where even molecular vibrations seemed afraid to make noise. Krell, the Varanthi who had mocked her earlier, looked like someone had just had quantum mechanics explained using interpretive dance. Utterly baffled, Commander Vorthax's scales flickered, black to crimson, crimson to purple. The rage was cycling, which meant he was thinking. Never a good sign. "The most challenging target," he repeated slowly. "Yes, sir. If I had hit a stationary practice target, you would have said it proved nothing. That any primitive projectile weapon can hit something that does not move. I needed to demonstrate practical combat application. By destroying Academy property. By proving effectiveness against modern technology, sir. Which was the point of the exercise, was it not? To create a weapon that works." Another strangled noise from the third row. This time, definitely laughter, quickly suppressed. Commander Vorthax stared at her for a long moment. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a Varanthi gesture that usually meant someone was recalculating their entire understanding of a situation. Then, slowly, his scales began to shift back toward purple. "Let me understand your logic, Cadet Kell. You believe that destroying your instructor's personal equipment is an acceptable demonstration of weapon functionality. I believe proving a weapon works against real targets is better than proving it works against fake ones, sir. Also," she paused, then decided to commit fully to the insanity. "You did say creativity was encouraged. The silence stretched. Then Commander Vorthax did something nobody in the class had ever seen before. He laughed. Not a small chuckle. A full, booming laugh that echoed off the lecture hall walls and probably startled maintenance crews 3 floors down. Creativity, he wheezed, his scales now shifting through colors that actually looked pleased. Yes, I did say that. Congratulations, Cadet Kell. You have achieved something very rare. You have surprised me. Mira was not sure if that was good or very, very bad. Your weapon is functional. Demonstrably so. I have repair bills to prove it. He picked up the ruined drone, examined the arrow still embedded in its core, and shook his head. A bow and arrow. Humanity brings a bow and arrow to an energy weapons class and shoots down military-grade surveillance equipment. He turned to address the entire class. Let this be a lesson to all of you. Technology is not always about the newest, the flashiest, or the most powerful. Sometimes the old ways work because they work. Sometimes simple is better than complex. And sometimes, he glanced back at Mira, the most dangerous thing in any room is the person everyone underestimated. Krell was staring at his half-melted pulse rifle like it had personally betrayed him. Cadet Kell, Commander Vorthax continued. Grade, perfect marks. Also, you are paying for my new drone. An installment plan is available through Academy Finance. Mira smiled. Worth it, sir. Dismissed everyone. Except you, Kell. We need to discuss why shooting your superior's equipment, while impressive, is generally frowned upon in military settings. As the class filed out, Mira caught whispered conversations. Her name, respect in voices that had held mockery hours before. And she knew that by tomorrow, the story would spread. The human who brought a bow to a weapons class and shot down a drone. Sometimes being underestimated was the best weapon of all. If this story entertained or taught you something, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and bring you more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.